It's roughly 3,200 years ago, and your village survives because everyone contributes. One person gathers food, another repairs tools, someone carries water. And then there's that guy, the one who somehow disappears exactly when the work starts. Today, a lazy coworker might ruin your afternoon. Back then, the wrong freeloader could help ruin your winter. No Slack, no HR, no just circling back. So what did ancient humans actually do with people who refused to pull their weight? There is one problem. Laziness does not fossilize. Archaeologists cannot look at a skeleton and say, "Yep, this man definitely avoided chores." Missing work could mean sickness, injury, family trouble, religion, or a terrible hangover. So the clearest evidence comes from societies that started writing down who worked, who received food, and who mysteriously stopped showing up. Start with New Kingdom Egypt, basically an ancient construction company with better eyeliner. At Deir el-Medina, the village of royal tomb workers near Thebes, a limestone ostracon from around 1250 BCE records workers' absences and, importantly, the reasons. Some were sick, some were dealing with family deaths, some had religious duties, one was building his house, and at least one absence was connected to drinking. Could an Egyptian worker miss work because he had been drinking? Yes, he could. But the interesting part is not the ancient hangover, it is the record. These workers lived in organized crews, and scribes noted who was present and who was not. That does not prove Egypt had an official category called lazy guy, but it shows that disappearing from your responsibilities was visible. In a small community, you could not simply turn your status light green, make toast for 40 minutes, and hope nobody noticed. Your absence had a name next to it. Now move east to Mesopotamia, where bureaucracy looked at wet clay and apparently thought, "Perfect. Let's invent spreadsheets." During the Ur-3 period, around 2100 to 2000 BCE, administrators recorded huge amounts of economic activity on cuneiform tablets. One tablet from Umma, dated to about 2028 BCE, lists rations of beer, bread, oil, and onions for messengers. The other tablets from the same administrative world record barley rations for workers and weavers. Imagine the social pressure. You show up expecting your food ration, while the person holding the barley also has a clay tablet recording who is attached to which job. Awkward. The tablets do not tell us this man was punished for being lazy, so we should not pretend they do. What they do show is something more basic. Work and resources could be tracked together. If institutions knew who received food, who belonged to a workforce, and what was being distributed, then permanently contributing nothing became harder to hide. Ancient management discovered a truth that survived into the modern office. Once somebody starts measuring output, "I was totally going to do it," becomes much less convincing. Then we get ancient Greece, where people stopped merely tracking work and started complaining about lazy relatives in writing. Around 700 BCE, the poet Hesiod wrote Works and Days, partly as advice to his brother Perses. Hesiod compares an idle person to a stingless drone that eats the bee's labor without doing the work. He also insists that work is not shameful, idleness is. In other words, complaining about a family member who does nothing is at least 2,700 years old. Humanity has made progress. Family group chats have not. Hesiod is basically that one relative at dinner who gives you aggressive career advice, except his version comes with Zeus and the possibility of starvation. Centuries later, Plutarch reported that the Athenian lawgiver Solon required scrutiny of how men made their living and punished those with no occupation. Because Plutarch wrote long after Solon, we should treat that report cautiously. But together with Hesiod, it shows how strongly work, reputation, and respectability could become connected in Greek thought. In a small society, being known as someone who always took and never contributed could cost more than food. It could cost trust. Here is the modern contrast. Mechanical employee time recorders only appeared in the late 19th century. An American time recorder patent was issued in 1888. Egyptians were recording worker absences more than 3,000 years earlier. The machine changed. The suspicion that Kevin is somehow away again did not. So how did ancient humans deal with lazy people? Probably not with one universal punishment. They had something more powerful. They made contribution visible. Attendance records, ration systems, reputation, moral pressure, and sometimes legal scrutiny all helped communities see who was pulling their weight. But there is an important difference between someone who cannot contribute and someone who will not. Ancient records rarely let us know which one we are looking at, and getting that judgment wrong matters. A community that tolerates endless freeloading can collapse trust. A community that labels every sick, injured, grieving, or struggling person lazy can become cruel just as quickly. That may be the oldest workplace problem of all, figuring out who needs a push, who needs help, and who has somehow disappeared the exact second the heavy lifting begins. So next time somebody vanishes when the work starts, remember, humans have noticed that move for millennia, and we still have not invented the perfect meeting to fix it.